and welcome to the January 5th, 2026 East Point City Council. Good evening, East Point, and Happy New Year. Madam City Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hemming. Councilmember Freely.
Here.
Councilmember Atkins.
Present.
Councilmember Ziegler. Councilmember Cummings. Councilmember Mitchell. Councilmember Caldwell.
Present.
Councilmember Martin Rogers.
Present.
Mayor Chapman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Do we have someone for the invocation tonight?
No, ma'am.
Pastor, okay. So in this case, we will stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Arms is Captain Robinson. Thank you so much for your service. May I have a motion to adopt the City Council agenda?
So moved.
Thank you. It has been moved and properly second that we are adopting the agenda for tonight. All those in favor? All those opposed? Right. So it has been moved and properly second, and we may I have a motion to approve the City Council minutes from December 15th, 2025. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Great. The ayes have it. And do we have a public hearing for tonight? No? Okay. And so we will move to the public comments. Madam City Clerk, do we have anyone for public comments?
We have 5 public comments this evening.
Okay, thank you.
You gonna read them?
Yeah, I'll read them. Okay. So for public comments, the public may speak during the public comment session of the agenda. The city clerk shall make public comment form available in City Hall.
Microphone, they can't hear you.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I was kind of, let's see. The city clerk shall make the public comment form available in the City Hall lobby prior to the start of the meeting. All speakers must complete a comment form and provide a completed comment form to the city clerk between 6 p.m. and 6:25 p.m. prior to the start of the meeting. Subject may include any subject of choice. There will be a 3-minute time limit for each speaker. Should the speaker desire to give his or her time to another speaker, he or she may do so by notating what speaker shall receive the time his or her comment form. Provided that the speaker, given his or her form, that he or she gives all or part of his or her time, up to 3 minutes, to another speaker, for a total of 6 minutes per speaker. Speakers may address the council only once during the time of the agenda. Speakers must identify themselves their address prior to speaking. Questions from the speaker may not be addressed during the public speaking section of the agenda. East Point residents will have priority over other speakers. There will be a total of not more than 60 minutes for the public speaking section of the agenda. Speakers may only address the presiding officer. Speakers shall observe all rules of decorum. No debate, disrespect, or obscenities shall be tolerated. The presiding officer shall rule any such individuals out of order that fails to comply with the foregoing. Madam City Clerk, can you call the first?
Yes, up first we have Ms. Lauren Moray.
Hello, Council. My name is Dr. Lauren Moret. I live at 2106 Mulberry Street in East Point. I am a proud art teacher at Tri-Cities High School. I came to talk for a few minutes about the Microsoft East Point Park because it's an art park and I'm an art person. And I wanted to share a couple of thoughts about the park. I can't tell if this is really loud, so I'm like lowering my voice. Okay, all right, speak up a little bit for you. All right. Is this an art park, or is the map we are looking at the actual Microsoft data center, and I'm looking at points of artworks located on a map? I don't quite understand the map, and so I have a question about that. There is, something's going on at the school, excuse me. So I have a question. Is this an art park map, or is this a map of the data center with art moments marked on the map? Is this park a definite? Is it started construction? Is this a written part of the community benefits agreement? Who keeps up the park, and for how long is that agreement for upkeep? And is that potentially upkeep for the duration or entirety of the Microsoft existence of the data center itself? In terms of the methodology, I just wanted to give a props and a kudos because I thought that the methodological practices that were organized from which to, 1, choose a committee, 2, create a timeline that was realistic, 3, potentially give various criteria that would be appropriate for the artists that are a part of the choice that community will make in the upcoming survey. I thought that was really well done, and I really appreciated the direct connection that the artist must have to East Point. Thank you for that. In terms of the, excuse me while I scroll through, in terms of the in-person access to community input and participation, please make sure you add schools. I noticed that we're not on there. So your elementary, middle, and high schools as well. And when we are able to participate, please make sure that's not a Monday through Friday during school hours requiring transportation and $450 bus costs to participate. I'm so excited about the art park. Thank you so much for your time. Last question I had was, what other pocket parks are in the works for East Point's Pocket Park project? Thank you.
Up next, we have Ms. Tammy Cook.
All right, now it's on. I feel like this dais is closer than it used to be to y'all. But I live at 1415 Womack Avenue. I'm in Ward B. And I came tonight just to thank each and every one of you for being here, for our new council persons who are just joining us. Thank you for running and caring about your community. And for those of you returning, thank you for your service, and thank you for the vision that I look forward to hearing about from each and every one of you. A couple of things of concern to me. Communication. I was just speaking with my fellow community member about the art park, and she mentioned that there was an email that was sent out to ask for people's interest in participating in various commissions. That's the first I've heard of it, and I think I'm a pretty well-informed community member. So I don't know if we actually have a communications department now. I know in years past we haven't really, but I feel like one of the very most important things that you all can do is to communicate with us in lots of different ways. Not everybody is on Facebook, and not everybody is on Instagram, and not everybody has the time to try to claw their way through the very difficult to follow website that we have. So communication, I think, is key. Another concern that I have, and this comes out of my participation for the past 3 years as part of the Community Advisory Board for Health Equity in East Point, is our lack of health equity in East Point. And I'm curious about how we are going to continue to address that in our community. One of the ways that I feel like I've been an active participant in addressing that for the past, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years now, is my participation in the Healthy Point program that takes place every spring through summer. This program has not only allowed me to get to know my fellow community members, but it has helped me see that a focus on health and education truly makes a difference in people's lives. There's an older couple in our community that has been attending our cooking demonstrations for the past 5 years, and they approached me during or following the first candidate forum that we had this year to tell me how our cooking demonstration has impacted their lives and helped them feel stronger and healthier. And I feel like that's really important to continue, so thank you.
Up next, we have Anthony DeRubis, and my apologies if I
You
pronounced
got
it.
it perfect.
Perfect.
Assuming this is on. Hi, I'm Anthony DeRubis. I live at 3171 East Point Street. Been a resident here for about 15 years. First of all, I want to welcome everyone to the City Council and our new electees. Thank you all for running and serving, as well as our continuing members. As a resident for 15 years, I've seen lots of ebbs and flows in the community. I think we've been on an upswing for quite a while. I'm starting to see things that are troublesome. We're working with the police department in our part of the neighborhood. We're seeing lots of, the best thing to call them is vagrants, wandering the streets, congregating on corners, selling drugs. As council and mayor, please keep public safety at the forefront. We're working with the police. They're being very diligent, but it's going to become an overwhelming problem. What I really wanted to talk about was, as the sole member of the Electrical Advisory Board, or may not still be on that board, please get this board filled. We've had smart meters in East Point for quite a while now. We've made it to Utility Hawk. I think it's a fantastic product. I use it myself on a weekly basis. I worked for a company that deployed over tens of millions of meters, and I was the guy in the office looking at the data that these meters generate. You have no idea what's available to you and to our electric grid workers to help make our grid better and make the lives of people using electricity better. I would be very happy to sit down with each and every one of you to let you know what these meters are capable of doing, from telling us how well the utility is doing at keeping the power on, helping them with their maintenance of equipment, seeing people in trouble with excessive usage. All sorts of things are possible. We may or may not have all this data. I can work with the city manager to figure out what the contract says and what is available for us to purchase from these meter companies. So again, thank you all for serving. Looking forward to a great 2026, and thank you for your time.
Up next, we have Mr. Tom Wardlow.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council. Thank you for being here. My name is Tom Wardlow. I live at 1301 Mercer. here in East Point that is Egan Park, and we are striving to be better, prettier, more effective, and more functional. I look over here, I moved here 6 years ago, so I'm a new person here. I see one person, thank you, Star, council person coming, is the only person who is still here, including our city attorney and our city manager, from when I was here 6 years ago. I've come fairly regularly. I want to tell you, I am extremely hopeful about what this city will become with your new guidance and direction. So I want to share what a couple of my other citizens have said and thank you for your energy, your time, and your commitment to making my home better. Thank you.
Lastly, we have Carl James.
Hello, my name is Carl James. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak to you. It's a pleasure to be here, and Happy New Year. I am an artist, a community leader, and a culture generator, and have been professionally active in Atlanta for 15 plus years. I've been the recipient of a handful of artist grants from city organizations, and presented at South by Southwest as a representative of Atlanta for why artists should choose Atlanta to live and work in. I realized a long time ago that a big part of my work as an artist is creating community, and through my efforts I've witnessed how art and culture, the community impacts the locale where it happens. Most recently, I was invited to take part in the revitalization of underground Atlanta, where within my studio and gallery I built a stage and single-handedly hosted what is colloquially known as the DIY scene. These are artists and musicians who passionately do all aspects of creating, producing, touring their work. And this scene, or community, as I prefer to refer to it as, is not only active locally, but stretches nationally and internationally. And I hosted acts from every corner of Atlanta to Florida, Maryland, Los Angeles, Oregon, Spain, France, New Zealand, and Japan. This community is also the most diverse community imaginable, representing every race, gender, sexual preference, age, handicap. All are welcomed and celebrated. The community that I've been nurturing in Atlanta is full of positive energy and support for each other, a post-ego sort of mental, all coming together to celebrate each other as we take turns on the stage. For the last year, I've been laying the groundwork for bringing my focus and energies to East Point. For years, I've been advocating for East Point artists and can say that I'm directly responsible for 4 houses being bought and 4 artists that are already living in the community. I want to introduce my partner, Arthur Cabral, stand up real quick, who is also an artist, a musician, a community leader, and a chef. We are in the early stages of procuring a commercial building to open an art space, music venue, restaurant concept. It's in the very early stages, so I don't want to get too specific as to which building. But after meeting with Lee Kelly in zoning, apparently we are fully zoned appropriately. And we are hoping to be a part of Ward A, so looking forward to meeting with Councilperson Friedli and Dr. Hemme. Thank you so much.
Those are all the public comments we have this evening.
Okay, and thank you for everyone who came up to speak this evening. I will now turn it over to the comments from City Council.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I want to say thanks to all the residents who spoke and Happy New Year to everyone. And thanks for all of the very positive comments this evening. I also want to say welcome to my new colleagues, particularly our mayor and our Ward D and Ward A representatives, and welcome back, Councilmember Atkins. And I want to say specifically how excited I am to be looking forward to working with my new Ward A mate, Dr. Hemming. So Happy New Year to everyone, welcome, and let's make it a good year.
Thank you. Councilwoman Martin Rogers?
Yes, thank you. I want to say Happy New Year to everyone and welcome to our mayor and new council members. A couple of announcements. January 19th, there's going to be a Martin Luther King Day of Service in partnership with the Atlanta Community Food Bank, Microsoft, and Georgia Works from 8:30 a.m. until 11:30 a.m. I'm going to put that information out there. Looking forward to mayor and council coming to work at the Atlanta Community Food Bank, and also the residents of the city of East Point. It's going to be a wonderful day. Seniors over 65 can now apply for the new school homestead exemptions. Can you hear me? That's a school teacher voice. All right, so the first one was the January 19th Day of Service, Martin Luther King. Did you hear that? It's open to mayor and council and all East Point residents. I'll put that information out there, have it put out there on the city's website. Seniors over 65 can now apply for the new homestead exemptions for APS in Fulton County Schools for the tax year 2026. You can find out more information at the fultonassessor.org website. And also, if we could probably have something go out in the utility bills for that population that does not have access to the internet or will not go online. And applications are submitted by April 1st. The Teacher's Closet is open every Saturday for the month of January from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. And right now, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Matthew Reed to the Planning and Zoning Commission. I need a second.
Second.
Second. It has been moved and properly second that Mr. Matthew Reed will be appointed to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
All
Those in
right.
favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
I'm not finished. I don't know how many minutes I have on the timer. How many minutes?
It's 24 seconds, because I paused it when
Okay,
you
with
made your
24
motion.
seconds, I want to close with this. It's been a month since council has approved the work for Mr. Willie Jackson's property, and I would like a timeline on Mr. Jackson's property, and also make a motion that the city manager comes back within 3 days with an update provided to mayor and council about Mr. Willie Jackson's property.
There's a motion on the floor for a timeline. There's a motion on the floor for a timeline regarding the upkeep of Mr. Willie Jackson's property.
Not the upkeep, but a timeline on when it would be completed.
For a timeline on when it will be completed.
To come
Do I
back
have
within 3 days.
to come back within 3
An
days?
email to mayor and council within 3 days.
Okay.
3 days.
Okay, we have a second. So there's a motion. All those in favor say for aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Right, and next, Councilwoman Ziegler.
I just wanted to say thank you thank you to all the residents who came out and spoke tonight during public comments, and also welcome our new council members to your first. Sorry, my microphone turned off. Welcome our new council members to your first meeting of the year. May we work inclusively, collaboratively, and with professional courtesy to solve the issues that residents face every day and to move East Point forward. I also wanted to give thanks to Robert Whitehead and Sanitation for being very responsive and solving issues really quickly. And also thank you to Fire Chief Thornton for the Santa ride-along around the city in December.
Happy New Year. First, I want to say thank you to the residents that came up and spoke out tonight. It's always great to hear what we're doing well, but it's even more imperative that we get an understanding of where your concerns are. I also want to thank all residents for placing your trust in us. I don't take this lightly. I want to thank all returning council members as well as all of the staff for continuing to do the work to help the city move forward. I'm honored to serve you all, and I look forward to working with you all over the next 4 years.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Hemming.
Good evening, East Point. I am honored to join this legislative body and to kick off my 4-year term. I want to share that annually I will provide a legislative mission statement that reflects my calendar year priorities. And monthly, I will provide a constituent services report. I ask that Madam City Clerk enter both of these into the record verbatim. My goal in doing this is for us to have documented what we're hearing from the community so that as trends and patterns emerge, we can make more proactive legislation. So with that, I will share my calendar year mission statement for 2026. As your Ward A at-large council member, I will work to raise the collective self-esteem of East Point by promoting exceptional leadership, responsive service, and shared pride in our city. And for my January 2026 constituent services request report, I had 2 concerns come from Ward A about the administration of the Blighted Property Program, 1 concern about the taxes, the other concern about how you come off of the program once you're on it. And then I had another concern from Ward C that was regarding increased traffic due to the people wanting to visit the filming location of the Stranger Things home here in East Point. So that concludes my report and my comments for this evening, and I thank you all for placing your trust in me and my colleagues to serve this city. Thank you.
All right, and next we'll have Councilman Atkins.
Madam Mayor, may I take a point of personal privilege? I'd like to make a motion so that Madam City Clerk can enter my comments verbatim into the record. Is that appropriate?
Second. It has been moved in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. And good evening to everyone who've taken your time this evening to join us for our first council meeting of the year. Happy New Year to everyone. And like my colleagues have said, I'd like to just give a very hearty welcome to all of our new council members who've joined us this evening for this council term, Councilmember Caldwell and Councilmember Hemmings. Looking so forward to working with you both and excited to have you join us as we do the work of the city. I'd just like to make a couple of comments. One is about the communications. Mr. City Manager, Ms. Cook did talk about the challenges that some of the citizens, she's echoed that, are having with getting proper and efficient communications out to the citizens. She did mention in her comments about the council members' communication. I think that should be supplemental to the city's communication because then it could be standardized because we may communicate very differently and it may not reach all of the citizens as it should. So ours should be on top of a very strong communication strategy from the city. And so with that, I'd like to ask if we could have a presentation from the communications team on how they are communicating with the citizens so that we'll know what they're doing and where we may be able to supplement so that we can reach as many people as possible. Also, Mr. DeRubis spoke about the City of East Point Utilities Advisory Commission. And yes, it is, in fact, I did appoint him, and he is a wealth of knowledge around this particular area of expertise. But as it relates to boards, authorities, and commissions, I am hoping that my colleagues will go ahead and make their appointments to any vacancies that they have on any city board, authority, or commission. It's a very important way to allow citizens to be a part of this democratic process. At the end of the day, they are the ratepayers, they're the end users, they're the customers, and so their input in the different areas across the city will be vital in terms of how we create the policy that will best serve them. So I'm hopeful, Madam Clerk, that you can get an updated version of any of the vacancies. If I didn't say that. Thank you.
And Councilwoman Cummings.
Thank you and good evening. Happy New Year, everyone. First, I'd like to welcome our new colleagues, Dr. Hemming, Councilmember Caldwell, and Mayor Chapman. I'd like to welcome you all here to let you know how excited I am for this new diocese that is here, and I know that we are most definitely going to work together to move the city forward, so I'm super excited about that, and just excited for you all to be here and looking forward to working with you. I'd also like to thank the residents that came out. For those that came and listed your concerns, know that they have also all been duly noted, and we are going to make sure that we address each and every last one of those. Mr. Wardlow, thank you always for coming out and giving your comments, always your words of encouragement. I definitely appreciate that. And with that being said, I know we talked about making those appointees to those various boards. And at this time, I'd like to nominate I'd like to appoint, Jasmine Welch to our Electric Advisory Board.
Second. Jakes.
Your mic.
It's been moved in second to elect Ms.
Jasmine Welch.
Jasmine Welch to the advisory board.
The Electric Advisory Board, yes, ma'am.
Electric Advisory Board. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. It's been, do we have any discussion? Is that the next? No. Okay, after the second. All right. So we can move forward then. Yes? Okay. All right. And so next.
Not at this time. I think we're going to be spending a little bit of time on the budget, and I'll save my comments for that time.
And I would just like to echo the sentiments of my colleagues tonight. It is an honor to be serving as your mayor, East Point. I'm looking forward to the future of collaborative work, teamwork, and us serving our residents here to make East Point continue to make it a better place for all of us to live together. And may I have a motion to appoint someone, the Board of Planning and Zoning? All right. I'd like to, may I have a motion to appoint Ms. Patricia Lovett to Planning and Zoning?
Just one point of clarification.
Okay.
Her term is up. She's already there as the chair. Is her term up based on the former mayor's appointment?
Yes, the former mayor's appointment was
It was Shropshire's.
Shropshire,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
Sorry.
So you would like to reappoint her, but this is the mayor's appointment. And so you can make the motion rather than someone else make it since it's your appointment.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to appoint Ms. Patricia Lovett to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Okay, I have to say, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Oh, the motion passed. Thank you. All right, and are we done with the council comments at this time? Okay, thank you. Now we will move into presentations and announcements. Mr. City Manager? Oh.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. We'll have a presentation from our Parks and Recreation Director, Director Pickett.
And just to clarify, tonight's presentation will be on the Microsoft East Point Park Community Engagement Plan presented by 9 Arts, actually presented by the Parks and Recreation. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and Council, and Happy New Year to everyone. Very excited in the public comments to hear our community's interest in being a part of making history in Ward D with the first park. I want to publicly thank Microsoft. I also want to publicly thank the young lady to my right, Ms. Arian, with 9 I've been working with her on this phase of the process in selecting a sculpture and a mural wall to be a part of this new park that Microsoft is giving the city. One of the great things that I loved about working with Arian, as you can tell, our residents want to be a part of our process and anything that we bring online. Arian has been paying great detail to that. We've had a number of meetings encouraging all residents to be a part of anything that we bring new that's online. 9DOT has been in the business for over 15 years. I'm going to make a note to meet with the residents who want to be a part. I'll call our art movement that's led by Mr. Chris Wayne. So we're definitely going to be reaching out to them so they can be a part of this process. Tonight, we're going to be talking about our rollout for these next the next phase of our Pocket Park, and I'll be making my request on what we'll need your help with at the end of our presentation.
Hello, Mayor and council members. My name is Arian Hornsby. Thank you, Shalord. And I'll be walking you through the community engagement plan that we propose to help bring this art program to life in the next few months. So we're really working on a pretty tight timeline. So we want to engage the community in this month so that we're creating an art experience that the community is excited and can be proud of and wants to share with the greater audience. Okay, all right, so I'll introduce the project overall and the committee that was formed to help kickstart the decision-makings on the art programming. And then we'll move into the community engagement strategies and goals. This will be a kind of a three-point process, really kicking it off with the community survey. And then what's next, and we'll have a question and answer portion. So this presentation will provide an overview of Microsoft Data Center's public art initiative at East Point's Pocket Park and the community engagement process that all aligns with the city's public art master plan. So where we are now, we're right at the start of stage 2, or excuse me, we're in the middle of stage 2, where we are starting to shortlist. So like right in the middle column there, committee is shortlisting, and we're going to move into the artist design phase in the next few days. So we're going to draft a community input survey where we would like your assistance with distributing the survey both in person and digitally so that we can get the delivery of those results so that we can start to make these decisions and the artists can start to create these commissioned new original works for the site starting in late January, all to lead towards a mid-March, late March installation at the park. The Technical Advisory Committee was formed so that we could evaluate the artist's qualifications in compliance with the city's public art policies. We've evaluated the feasibility, the durability, safety, and maintenance specifically of the large sculpture location, and curating a short list of artists so that we can present it to you and the community for your input. So first, we will start off, like I mentioned, with that input via survey, both in person and online. And then ultimately, this will lead towards a mural paint day where we will invite residents and yourself to paint with the selected muralist. So of course, that will all be determined on the final design of the mural, which we're so excited to see, but we'll all be a part of that mural coming to life. So we'll take lots of photos and of course have that reveal and ongoing programming in the park for years to come. So the purpose of the survey between January 17th and 23rd will be to gather input from the community, ensuring that all of this artwork is feasible within both the project timeline and the schedule requirement overall. So for this park sculpture, we would like to gather element level input on the sculpture. So the community will provide input on one selectable design element from one artist. And then for the park's mural, we'll have a full concept preference where the community is selecting a preferred mural from 3 complete pre-approved concepts. And the strategy here, again, is to provide both digital and in-person access. Thank you to the teacher who came and mentioned that schools were missing from our in-person access list, so we'll definitely consider adding schools to that list, but as you can see on the digital side, an e-blast, bill inserts, depending on timing here, again, we're working on a really condensed schedule. We'd love to take advantage of all of these forms, but whatever's feasible within the timing here in the next couple of weeks. Geo-targeted social media outreach, listservs, we'll engage with community partners, newsletters, using QR codes available at all of the same places that we're placing in-person printed surveys. We'll have QR codes available to scan so residents can use their devices. And the projected outcome, we will compile a summary of the results, and this data will be used to deliver a recommendation to the advisory committee and city council in order to deliver a community-informed art selection for the Pocket Park. And then, of course, coming up next, we'll have community paint days. This is just some example imagery of community members working together. We want to invite all ages, all accessibility points for the community to have their hands in the creation of the mural and ongoing programming in the park. So Shalork and I can answer any questions about the plan and proposal of the survey and next steps.
Thanks for your presentation. Question these mics are weird. You may not be able to answer, maybe Mr. Pinkett can. Do we have a name for the park? Is it literally going to be called the Pocket Park, which seems a little odd?
Well, I'm glad you said that. That is something that we're going to have to put our heads together or input on that piece. Tonight we wanted to talk about the art piece. The Pocket Park is just the name based on the scale of the park, but we are going to have to come up with the city decides as far as the name goes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And who's pulling together the survey?
Nine Dot Arts will host the survey. It'll be hosted via Microsoft Forms, a digital survey. It will have a start date and an end date online. And then for the printed surveys, we'll pick them up on that 23rd or the 24th, the morning of the 24th there.
And in terms of the design, is it sort of multiple choice or is it open-ended?
Exactly. It'll be multiple choice. We'll include the artist render, an artist bio, and a short statement about the work. So it'll be mostly visual based, but we'll make sure we're including some information about the artist and the intention behind the work.
Okay. Thanks very much.
Yes, thank you. And I just want to say that this is a pocket park that the residents in the community advocated for through the partnership with Microsoft. Once we realized they were coming and there were little to no benefits for the people that lived in the area, the residents advocated for something in that space. And thank you so much for taking the lead on that. And it's nice seeing you again. But just to ask a few more questions that were asked during public comment, who's going to upkeep the park? Can you walk us through that a little bit, please?
Yeah, I will be the guy for that. Our park service team will be spreading their wings, moving to Ward D, which we're happy to do. Like I said initially, this is the first park. I've been here forever personally, but we'll be maintaining that space. So a lot of the thought in the design was to make it low maintenance, even from the shrubbery, the trees, even the art piece, but my team will be responsible for maintaining.
All right, and then I have just one more question. The nearest schools in the area are Brookview and Camp Creek. And then there was a mention of Tri-Cities High School. Can we please ensure that we tap into those schools, even if the students are permitted to draw a picture of what they think should go in the park, then that should be a part of the collaboration process.
Yeah, that's an easy add for us, so we'll make sure we do that.
Yeah, so
Yep.
just make sure that you reach out to those schools. And then the last thing is, please ensure that we do have one meeting inside that Georgia Soccer Park in that building for the residents that are in close proximity.
Okay, I'll make
All
that
right.
happen.
Thank you.
Councilman Atkins?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Director Pinkett, thank you, and also Ms. Hornsby, thank you for the presentation. I have a question. I'm pretty predictable. Boards, authorities, and commissions. So we have a cultural enrichment board, is that correct? And I believe that we have another arts body of citizens. So the technical advisory committee that you mentioned, Ms. Hornsby, are those boards seated? Do we have vacancies? Are they meeting? Are we using them? Because if we were able to stand up a technical advisory committee, I think that we could populate our boards, authorities, and commissions so they could help to be advocates and get information out about this park, the arts, and get citizens engaged and all of those things.
So to answer your first part of your question, that board is not in place. We actually need to complete that actual commissions board for arts.
Is it the cultural enrichment one? Okay.
Yes. So that board needs bodies to actually be put in place. The other part of it is we're going to be asking you all to help us reach out to your constituents to be a part of that. So we try to get a vast array of ways that we're going to try to get opinions with us not having an actual board in place. But we did was obviously include public arts, which is Chris Swain, and we also leaned on the city's art master plan in the meantime. But it would be great if we did have that board complete, because this process, you know, probably could have had some input from that committee as well. But outside of that, these are the things that we're looking to do.
Right, yeah, and those are the things that I'm always stuck on, the boards, authorities, and commissions, to give citizens an opportunity to really engage with what's happening in their city, so that there's a sense of pride, a sense of ownership, and they can help get the word out so that we can increase participation. And so not only for this pocket park, but also for the multiplex, I've made the same comments. So Madam Clerk, again, if you could let council members know what vacancies are available, and council members, if you would please make appointments to those boards, authorities, and commissions. A motion to, I'm sorry, what's, I can't understand.
Council, I will just remind you, we're in a public meeting.
Right, I'm asking the clerk to provide the vacancy list to all of the council members so that they can make their appointments to any board, authority, and/or commission that needs to have bodies to fill so they can operate. That is my question, or my request of the clerk.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that requirement?
No.
Okay, all right. Okay, sorry.
Okay. All right, I yield, thank you.
All right, so next we will have Councilwoman, we have someone, I'm looking, we have a list, Councilwoman Starr coming.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your presentation. And that was actually, Councilmember Atkins asked that question, that we have members appointed to the Cultural Enrichment Board. So we will take care of that. That was the one question. And could you go back to the slide that had your timeline on there? I just want to get a snapshot of that. Just so I can grab those dates. Okay, thank you. I yield.
Yes, thank you. I did some research on non-dot arts, and the work that you all do to include community thoughtfully and strategically is really encouraging, so thank you for bringing your expertise to the city. I did have one question about what your aim is for how many people you are going to survey, and then if you had any analysis that you would do to make sure that participation was representative across the wards, particularly representation from Ward D, where this park will be located. So you could skip forward to the slide on your methodology, but I didn't see a number of how many people you were intending to sample, and then can you just talk about representation across the wards?
Sure. To answer the first question about survey participation, this is based on with our survey partner last year, a city of similar size. The data that we're looking for was, I'm sorry, I should have written this down, but it was N equals 108, so about, in the city, the population, I believe, is
39,000.
39,000, so we're going to look for about 100 plus survey respondents total, both digitally and in person. And I can give you the, where I got that information from. And then in terms, we're going to gather the demographic location by ward and age, but right now we're not weighting it by ward location. We will weight it by people who are located in East Point versus people who are not located in the city of East Point. Does that answer your question for wards, or is there anything you would like to see in regards to Ward D being?
I just want to make sure that you all do due diligence, and I know Mr. Pinkett is very good at this, but in earlier conversations about this data center, there was an oversampling of Ward B, and I just want to make sure that there's not an oversampling when we have opportunity to place this in that particular community.
And actually, that was going to be my ask for you all's help. Ms. Rogers, Councilwoman Rogers just mentioned about having a meeting at the soccer park, which I think will help a lot, but we also will be leaning on you all to make sure we hit those points to make sure Ward D has full representation. So I'll be reaching out to you all on that as soon as tomorrow, but we wanted to bring it to you all first, and then we'll start from there. And we also talked to our communications team, so I think we should have a good reach, but the in-person meeting, I will hope will bring out a lot of people from Ward D.
Thank you both.
Are there any more comments?
Yeah.
No. Councilman Atkins?
Yes. I just want to follow up with my request of the clerk, and so just so that we can perfect the record, I would make the motion that the clerk provides us with a very detailed document regarding boards, authorities, and commissions, and any of the vacancies thereof, and where appointments would be needed for any of those.
Is there any discussion? No? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Thank you. All righty. And next, we will be moving to the next committee reports. No committee reports. And let's see, so next is the agenda items. May I have a motion to open the floor for discussion on the agenda items? This is the motion. May I have a motion to open the floor to discuss the council discussion on possible action on the City of East Point Board and, no, that's on Asian, the budget timeline. Thank you. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? You have a discussion by council? No, we didn't. It didn't pass, so you're not too late.
Yeah, I think it did pass. Did it pass?
She has a discussion.
I'm in for discussion.
She has a discussion.
Vote to open the floor for discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I think you just got to get permission from
Oh,
Madam Mayor.
yeah.
to proceed.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, I just wanted to say for the council discussion and possible action on the budget timeline, thank you, Mr. City Manager, for bringing this to our attention. But I do want us to just take note that we do have new council members here this evening that may not be familiar with this process. So it may be beneficial that we discuss it somewhat, but definitely move this to a work session. Thank you.
Do we need to have a motion to move this to the work session?
Well, you currently have a motion and a second on the floor to open the floor for discussion.
Okay.
And so you'll get your yays and nays to that.
Mm-hmm.
If it passes, then he can make his presentation. You guys can discuss after the end of that. If further discussion is needed, then someone can make a motion to move this to the work session.
Okay, so do we have any further discussion needed for this item? All those in favor of the, I'm sorry, the motion on the floor is discussion. We've already had the discussion.
Well, the motion on the floor is to open the floor for discussion.
Right.
So let's get who's in favor of hearing more about the item.
Okay. do we have anyone in favor of hearing more? Do I have a motion to hear more about this?
You have a motion, you just
Right,
need.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. We got this.
right.
Just call for the yays.
Okay.
For opening the floor for discussion.
All right. Do we, all those opposed? All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay.
Floor is now
We got
open.
Yes.
So, Mayor, Council, I can walk us through the information that's presented to you. I'm also going to ask our interim finance director to come up so that we can have a visual, so the public can also follow.
Microphone, please.
Oh, you can't hear me? I hear my voice clear, but I'm also asking our interim finance director to set up a visual so the public can also follow through the proposed budget timeline. Giving her a second to set that up. So I will give a little context, especially for our newer council folks. We had a real exciting process last go around, where we really went up to almost the final hour before getting it approved, so that we didn't run into state penalties. But we did go past and beyond our local ordinance guidelines. So in looking at how to make sure we don't find ourselves in those situations, having a upfront timeline that can be approved by the City Council is an attempt to clearly lay out and be transparent of the process. So it's a little new for the city to have that. I mean, we've certainly had outlines in our budget books, but not something that actually got a council vote. And so hence this approach. All right, with that being said, and there's a number of different things. I want to really focus in the things that are going to be really important for City Council. And there is quite a bit of work that City Council has to do in the process as well. So, and there's some timelines that are going to be pretty pressing. Typically, we would love to have stretched these type of things out that would likely start November, sometimes even September, based on budget policies and projections. And that's certainly starting with a new council, something we don't have as a luxury. So these are a pretty kind of a packed timeline. So I will say, please keep that in mind, because it will be a really aggressive. Staff is comfortable we can get it done, but we definitely are going to have to stay on point. So with that being said, there's some areas that are really important. This might seem trivial, but council pictures are really important to the process. Surprisingly, that can sometimes be controversial. So we like to try and get those pictures and things taken care of. So when the budget book is ready to go, things of waiting for photographers, timelines, and all those things don't get out of the way. So this week, next week, if we can get those pictures in, you'll be communicated with by the communications department. So that's also going to be an important thing. Another big piece in council, especially for our new members, wanted to have a mid-year review. We also wanted to take a look at our events and program activities, and so that's going to be part of our work session. And that will start with a presentation and culminate with discussion from council. Another major piece is getting the capital improvement budget approved by the council. So what that's going to be a new process for the city. I think we have dealt with overall capital needs within kind of the operating budget with a very aggregate or large 100,000 feet above approach review of our capital needs. This time we're going to kind of get very granular. And so we'll be looking at our individual capital improvement projects per project. And what that will look like is a 5-year outlook of what our departments and divisions think we need in the area of capital improvements. Those capital improvements will be project, particularly special project oriented. If there are projects that are more in tune with day-to-day operations or day-to-day maintenance, those won't be reflected. But big picture, pointed projects that are needed to either maintain or enhance services, those will be articulated. So you'll have a 5-year outlook. Some of those projects might happen, say, in the first year. Other projects might take planning and saving that might take some kind of a layaway approach to putting resources into a project that doesn't happen until year 4. But you'll be able to see a strategy of funding, a build up to that project, a justification of that project. We're also encouraging to have photographic imagery, illustrations to show what that project is, what that project will do. And so in our budget book, we're planning to have a page per project. So there will be opportunities for the public to see these projects, see what our timelines are. I think we've ran into challenges where we say, okay, we got this approved, we got this funded, even some design work have started, and people expect it to be delivered that year, where in reality it may not be even funding for the construction portion of it until the next year or even the year after. So it creates opportunity for frustration and unknowing, and typically staff have to spend time trying to get clarity with the public. And so this approach, we're hoping will create a clear line on how a project gets from beginning to end. So that is going to be new for us. We're gearing up, spinning up departments to look at things a little differently. And we're really all going to be, pressing to have that brought forward and submitted on the 12th, with ultimately culminating in acceptance and a vote on the 20th, Tuesday the 20th this month. And so there's other things, obviously internal, that we'll be doing in January, but those are probably the big things that will involve council in January. In February, we'll have a number of things. I think something's going to also be interesting to council, interest for council, is rolling out a new digital budget book. So we have contracted software to have a budget book that is going to be digitally presented, that will have the flow of a book, like you can turn pages, complete with pictures, sometimes even videos, further explaining, performance measures, department goals, department missions, highlights to the budget this year, those kind of things will be capsulated in the book. But we're also, we'll still have written books, so I know there's some that's going to feel comfortable having written hard copy budget books that will be, available for hand notes and all that. That's still going to happen. This is just going to be the representation of what the public will feel when they access the book online. So you'll have that presentation on February 2nd. Another point is the presentation update on the salary plan. So there's been some major investments with Evergreen and getting our salaries up to the point of being more marketable. We're going to follow up on where those are. We've implemented that. There's been issues of, basically working out the kinks, and every time you make those changes, making sure all the employees have, gotten a review to make sure that they're fitting within the marketplace where they need to be. We're going to, get you up to speed on where we are on that come February 9th. Also, goal setting. So we haven't had that. I mean, I think we've missed a strategic planning, true strategic planning process, but a goal setting is very similar, but really zeroed in on the next 12 months of activities and objectives. And so not to, again, put us in a position of guesswork, trying to understand where the priorities for the council is, we're really going to have a period of time of having a goal-setting consultant come in and work with the city council to really zero in on what those key objectives for this budget will look like. So there will be some communications with the consultant to kind of get a preliminary roadmap. That consultant then will come in for a Saturday workshop, and then their work will be complete. But it would give us the basis to get, you know, core values, mission, and key objectives in the budget that will set our budget format and basis for our budget. We'll then go into our one-on-one meetings with city council members, our first round, and that's going to be with CMO staff and the finance department. Community, we want to have our first community meeting. Our first community meeting will be focused only on the CIP, and it would be more of a charrette. So as the city council would have approved the CIP at the end of January, we'll condense that information in a way that will allow the public to see those projects and do some type of ranking or feedback process where they can ascertain what's more important to them. We can kind of get an idea of what projects might lend to be have a greater focus, and present that information and that data to the council before we have the final review of the budget. So that charrette would be the first week of March. Location and all that is still to be announced, but we're also looking to do things out more in the neighborhoods. I think in the previous year, we've kind of focused on community meetings in City Hall. I think we want to mix it up a little bit and take some of those meetings out of City Hall and do some things in some neighborhoods that might be have some interest. Another key area, and this is something we're still kind of getting all our information on, was the millage recommendation. So one thing that we did experience last year, we, based on kind of a newer state law identifying where we think the millage is going to be, we kind of undershot ourselves, and it wasn't by a large number, but it did create a little bit of deficit because I think we were like a couple tenths points below where we should have been. So this time we're going to spend a little bit more time on forecasting, a little bit more time on getting a number, or at least giving us the room to wiggle based on more budget numbers and realities that will be coming through the process, so that when we do have a millage recommendation, it is actually where we need it to be and responsible to the budget that we're building. Where am I? So the other areas, there's been a number of enterprise rate studies that have either been recently concluded or are underway. Having a full review of those rate studies will be in form of presentation and discussion. And I think there's also been some desire, at least to have departments provide some presentations. And so we have a lot of departments. I think what we want to do is to have a presentation, kind of small 15-minute bites of presentations from the departments on some of our key budget highlights. The idea is to keep those really sharp. Not a whole lot of Q&A there, but then to follow up with the second round of one-on-one meetings with mayor and city council members to go into any deeper questions, inquiries, and look into any research items that might be needed in continuing to preparate the budget. So number 8 is another item that has come to my attention that we don't have. I know there's some cities particularly who are really focused on our activities with tourism in general. And since there is some big capital projects that we'll be looking at in the forms of city auditorium, multi-generational recreation center, those kind of things, having a real understanding of resources from our hotel motel tax is important. So with that being said, inviting the boards, although we're going to have direct responsibility for their budgets, but inviting them to present their budgets to the council is something I will be doing, and if possible, and these are shouldn't be extremely complicated budgets, but if possible, adding a section in our budget book of these various boards, their budgets. So we're going to be working on having a presentation, or at least inviting presentation from BIDA, the CVB, and the DDA to present that somewhere in March. Okay, so rolling out March, things start getting real in April. We'll hopefully have present the council with a printed working draft, and I stress working draft, working up to, and that'd be early April, working up to what I characterize as a submitted final draft from the city managers of the city manager's recommended budget, April 20th. So that's going to be important. If we can keep that timeline, that will give us a lot of room to be able to make any adjustments should we need to, with especially in taking in account public notice requirements and publications and things of that nature. That being said, we will roll into May with high-level budget highlights, where we are, and then the council will have also received the final record, or the final draft. So then we'll really spend May spending a lot of time with the public. And so the community Zoom budget meeting has been a success. We're advocating keeping that. We have a public hearing also there. And we also want to be able to take information that we're getting from the public, and I'm sure also council, and we'll also save that for potential third round of one-on-ones if there's some issues that came up. Now that still gives us a lot of time for any last-minute adjustments, and hopefully things go well in that process. We'll be ready to adopt a budget June 1st. Now keep in mind, June 1st is what's required by our local ordinance, but we still will have dates after June 1st, should there be any unforeseen budget delays or budget approvals, to still have a budget approved before the state required deadline, which would be June 30. And that's when things become also very difficult because of penalties and essentially being required to approve every budget every month to actually make payroll and things of that nature, and then also having other budget implications that would be imposed or potentially imposed by the state. So we don't ever want to really get ourselves in that position. So that's why we have, I call it, a number of pressure release dates, and then also giving a room for a special meeting date if we would need it. But Hopefully, we won't need that. We'll have a lot of opportunity to discuss, a lot of opportunity for public involvement, and my goal is to at least talk, touch, and feel a little bit of the budget every meeting leading up to that date, so there's not a lot of room for surprises. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Are there any discussion? Oh, sorry, do we have, let's see. I think I saw Councilman Freely's mic.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thanks, Mr. Jones, for the robust calendar. Greatly appreciated that we're sort of breaking this out and being a little bit more proactive up front, so thank you very much for that. There's the digital budget book, which is part of this process. As you know, I've talked to you about this before. You know, our budget book is not at all user-friendly, even for people within the city, and certainly for residents, it's like the Rosetta Stone, sort of. I mean, you can't read it. So thrilled to hear that there's a plan for a digital book. Does that include, that you mentioned there was sort of a contract or something, does that include graphic visual communication specialists who are going to actually understand how you convey information, data visualization, and all of that? Because putting it online is great, but if it's still indecipherable and not user-friendly, that's not much progress. So can you talk a little bit more about what that contract includes?
Sure. I'm going to let Elizabeth Cartwright address that. Her team has been working in identifying the contractor and working with the unique services that contract brings.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. Councilman Freely, yes. So our new budget book will allow us to put graphics in. It'll be, we really wanted to reach the community so they can see where capital improvement is going to be. So we really want to engage the community with regard to that. So we've been working really closely with Gravity, who is the software that we'll be utilizing for our budget book.
What was the software again?
Gravity.
Gravity.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
And so does that come with like direct support in terms, in the form of people that you're working with?
Yes, it does. We've actually been working with them for at least a good 9 months now, bringing in data from our ERP system, making sure that everything is going to be in tune for the budget book when we start implementing that process. So we hold weekly meetings with them to make sure that they can provide what we want for our community.
Okay. Sounds good. I mean, I've shared, I think it was last spring or summer, I shared some examples from other cities, you know, that are really, really accessible, really visually interesting, and, you know, so I hope that we're going to work toward that.
We're really excited about the use of this new software because not only does it provide good visuals for the community, it also creates time management from staff side, right? So we're not going to spend a lot of time putting numbers in on our sheets. Everything's going to flow naturally. And so you'll be able to see that when it's digitized on the website also. So you'll get that flip feeling like it's a true book, and then also we'll be able to print the books easily and place them like at the library and city clerk's office, things of that nature.
Right, okay. Thanks. And then one other point in the March section, item 8, the budget presentations from BIDA, CVB, DDA. Can you talk a little bit more about that? I'm a little confused how those bodies' budgets impact or dovetail with the city budget.
Sure. So, and this was something that I've been familiar with, particularly when you have some partnerships that work within your hotel motel tax. So our breakdowns, each one of these entities, well, no, I take that back. CVB particularly, they partake in our hotel motel tax and the breakdown. Now, there's a certain percentage of dollars that get broken out of our hotel motel tax dollars that they have direct access to. It flows through the city budget, but we don't get to assign it to anything. But that work that we do with the CVB, that coordination, that collaboration, then gets to do public benefits, but that's particularly focused in the area of convention and tourism. And so there is also areas for tourism product. Those are activities that are also very focused on tourism. There is some things that the city can spend in that area, but it has to be for activities directly related to that. And then there's a good chunk of that that goes into general fund. We typically use that for whatever general fund needs are. So if there are activities that we are focused, say like the auditorium, there's a little bit more coordination and understanding of the resource available to us when we understand, hey, what is being spent, say for the CVB? What activities are they doing? Are they doing anything that's related to the auditorium? Are there opportunities to partner on auditorium mission? Or are we worried of redundancy? Those kind of conversations happens a little bit more naturally when you have a little bit of a feel for that board's goals, that board's expenditures, and so there's that coordination. The other two boards, frankly, DDA doesn't have a lot of resources at their fingertips at the moment, but having an understanding of what their mission is, what their goals is, where their opportunities for resource development could collide or partner with the city's activities. And so understanding where those strengths are and those weaknesses, frankly, will allow for a very strategic economic development approach. And so that communication is very helpful. Again, those are separate boards. I made a point to make sure I use the word invite. It's not, to my understanding, mandatory, but certainly if you want to begin to have and usher in this era of better together, this is an opportunity that we can bring those activities, have an area in our budget book where citizens can get a little more acquainted with what these boards are bringing to the city, because frankly, we're sharing some of those tax resources, particularly with hotel motel, and certainly in economic development endeavors, we're partnering with groups like VITA and the DDA. So it's just that part of, it's not immediate, but certainly feeds into common goals and common missions.
Thank you. I mean, I think any information sharing, of course, is useful, and I just would want to make sure that the presentation, particularly from the CVB, is not sort of a dog and pony show of what's been done, but a prospective look, an actual budget of this is, what we have planned, because we don't need sort of just, kind of everything but the kitchen sink.
Absolutely, and my vision is that this might look like a 1-2 page in our book per organization. I don't expect to see a lot of promos. This is really, what we spend, what our mission is, and that's a 1-pager. And if you got a lot of money to report, then maybe that's a 2-pager. But I think this is more like a 1-pager per organization in our budget book if they choose to participate with us.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor, may I just add one thing to the comments about the CVB? Is that okay? Okay. To your question, Councilmember Friedley, and I think the city manager articulated it perfectly, but the 43.75% that the CVB gets from our 8% hotel motel tax. I do not think that should be a part of our budget book because those are restricted funds that the city can't spend. Obviously, it can be noted that they get it, but, not in a way that indicates that the city is spending or doing anything with those funds. We also should be provided by law, state law, a copy of how they're spending the 43.75% anyway. And so that's something that they should be providing to the city manager and of course to this body to even receive their portion of the TCT, their portion of the hotel motel tax, which is the TCT part of the funds. So we should have that.
I don't think I've ever seen it. Have we? I don't think we received that. Who would have it?
Sounds like myself and the city manager will discuss it.
That would be most welcome.
All right, and so we have Dr. LaTanya Martin-Rogers. I'm sorry. So I'm just going to read in order. We have Dr. LaTanya Martin-Rogers, Councilman Ziegler, and then Councilwoman Hemming next. Oh, your mic is off, so we'll just go to Hemming.
All right, and thank you so much for your presentation, but I was going to also ask the city attorney to weigh in on BIDA and the DDAs. Should they be a part of this budget book?
So they can.
Okay.
Their funds are not restricted like a DMO, a Destination Marketing Organization's
Okay.
funds are restricted. In fact, if we provide a majority of the funding to the DDA or to BIDA, it may be a good idea to include them, as the city manager indicated, especially when it gets to auditing purposes, to make sure that those funds are accounted for.
All right, and then my next question's for the city manager. In January, you have the capital improvement number 8 on your presentation. Can you bring that down? And it talks about internal meetings. I would like to suggest that mayor and council, there are a lot of capital improvements through wards A, B, C, and D that I know I've heard about from residents throughout the city. So I would like for mayor and council, if you have the opportunity or the chance, but I would like to provide some capital improvements that I know are specific to my ward. I don't know if the other council members have ward-specific capital improvements that need to be addressed, but for number 8, it's just saying submit for acceptance of the capital improvement budget, but mayor and council should be a part of that capital improvement discussion. The other thing I wanted to add was January through up until we get to the budget, I don't see anything in here as it relates to the economic development strategic plan that we had done. And how are you going to tie in the economic development strategic plan? Because as I was reading that, a lot of some of the issues that we face, some of the things that we talk about, gateway signage, park improvements, our sidewalks, it's in the economic development strategic plan that has been well laid out. So are you going to have, or are you going to tie in the economic development strategic plan while we're in this season? Because I don't see a mention of it here. Thank you.
And thank you for that. So we'll say yes, it will be covered. Particularly, I will look at that in our department updates, those department budgets in the presentation where that can be focused in on. I also would like to draw your attention to number 4 in January, where you're presenting. It says present new capital improvement format. That's actually you'll get our up-to-date list of projects. So anywhere between that date of the 12th to the date of the 20th, that's the opportunity to add to that list with any council projects that you kind of articulated. So there's that window to add in there. The other thing to keep in mind, while on the 20th, you've given some acceptance of those projects. Frankly, that is a piece of the overall budget, and theoretically, you can also add projects throughout the process of the one-on-one meetings that we'll be having. as long as those projects are ultimately reflected before the final budget. So those things, there's plenty of opportunities to add those. If it doesn't come to you, say in January, something comes up and very interesting that captivates your attention after that, all the way up to essentially when we're due, I think the real date of, I think maybe in May, right before we go in and do the public notice. That's where it's really, the budget really can flow back and forth, ebbs and flows. Then after that, after we go through the public process of publications, anytime we make changes after that, we run the risk of having to go through another publication process. So again, all of that's still possible, but you start running into some of the unforeseen budget delays because we got to make sure we have enough time for publications and that's written publications, and newspapers like to have 7-day advance between those, so it just adds to the time that we need to have. So I think there's plenty of opportunity there for those type of discussions, and particularly if you take advantage of the one-on-one meetings that we had last year. You know how those flows for our new council members. Will basically take the budget anywhere you want to go as an individual council members, explore any avenue within the budget that you wish to, certainly give you the big picture and the highlights, and then essentially sit down with you and go through every line item and explain whatever you want to do. So we go through that process. And then if there's some desires, some constituent needs, some things like that, that communication allows us to make any kind of adjustments and then build that into our presentation as we go to our main, or when you get to the recommended city manager's budget in April. Usually those will be reflected in there. And if not, then there's still room to add and adjust after that.
Councilwoman Hemming.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Mr. City Manager. I'm really excited about this timeline and the depth that you and Ms. Cartwright went through to put this together. I appreciate the focus on community input and council input, and I want to just offer to you as a reminder that Section 2-2003, subsection C1 of our charter states that all proposed annual budgets should be submitted by the city manager to the Budget and Finance Committee for review. So in your timeline, I don't see that reflected, and I appreciate that you're adding all those council opportunities, but that Budget and Finance Committee, I think, gives the greatest opportunity for collective review and reflection of the council and the body's perspectives. I also just want to note, I don't remember the number, but I believe it's in March, you share that you're going to have 15-minute presentations by department. I'd ask you to limit that to 5 minutes by department. 15 feels very ambitious and a little bit overwhelming to me. And then I'd also just ask you to briefly talk about the fiscal outlook and the forecasting conversation. Will this include forecasting around sales revenue, not just property tax, but also sales tax revenue? And then also if you could talk about the timing of the millage rate, the tax digest when it comes out, and how you factored that into preparing so that we are not assuming a millage rate in our projections because we don't vote on the millage rate until much later in the calendar year. Hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I definitely will look into the oversight of the Budget and Finance Committee. So thank you for that note. So the forecasting, there's two little areas there where I'm trying to look at it too. The fiscal outlook, assumptions and uncertainties. And then I basically take two cuts of that. That is where I'm building essentially the preliminaries to the city manager's budget message. So I will be, frankly, we expect that we're going to be having some headwinds. And I'll be explaining what those headwinds look like, why they apply, and why they demand our attention as we move forward through our budget preparation. And so the forecasting is something that, frankly, we haven't done a whole lot of. We've been doing a lot of what we call legacy budgeting, where we look at what we spent last year and our actuals and then make assumptions based on previous spending. Forecasting will take us a little bit more into the world of understanding what the market is doing for us, understanding what the housing market looks like, understanding what our building permits are generating, how robust they are, what those investments are looking like in our community, and utilizing some of that information to garner where we think our millage projections should be, and giving ourselves some room to make sure, because unlike last year when we came in around 6/10 below, obviously we managed to work through that deficit, but we had some things to help us, like we had a lot of vacancies. Our vacancies now, we've been, getting a little bit more fully staffed. So those salary savings that we appreciated last year, they're not there for us now. We had some programs that were lagging. I think we all are very familiar with the facade grant, not to pick on that, but that was a slow-moving project that those funds didn't, go out, although they were federally granted funds. But those kind of things, those programs like that didn't get off the ground, so that money was able to be, sit there. And if it was related to general funds, we were able to maneuver those funds to address some of those other issues. Those things aren't going to be there now, as we are actually being more effective in getting programs off the ground, more effective with closing our vacancy gaps. Now our budget becomes a little tighter, a little bit more real, if you will. So if we're over projecting in somewhere else, we're feeling that now, where before it was a little easier to absorb. So those kind of conversations, discussions, we've made some investments in getting our salaries up. That is, we're going to be feeling that now. But on the other side, we got good things like our TAD freed up in Camp Creek, right? And so those revenues from there will, be showing up on our tax rolls now, where before they were focused more in the TAD that was specific to economic development activities in that particular TAD. Well, now those are now coming in revenue. So we'll have those kind of conversations where it's not just expenditures, it's also revenues, and it's including forecasting based on analysis that our finance department will be able to walk us through.
Great, and you said something that made you remember another question. In January, you have a mid-year review of events and program activity.
Yes.
Am I to understand that that is for the current fiscal year? You are going to be giving us a reflection of what we've done for the last 6 months, so we can celebrate our accomplishments and then also possibly consider what might need to change or how we might want to project out for future budgeting, et cetera.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much. I yield.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other comments or questions? Okay, sorry. All right. Councilwoman Atkins?
Thank you. Sorry, thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a few questions, and this may be best for Interim Finance Director, Ms. Cartwright. I'm not really sure, Mr. City Manager, but last year when I had my very first meeting, what I was presented was numbers in aggregate, and it took 60 days for me to get a detailed budget to see really what I was looking at. So in this presentation and the way that you're going to lay this out in terms of the book as provided by Gravity, can you tell us, are those numbers going to be in aggregate or detailed, or will they be different documents and then a document that's more easily read by the public, and if they would like the detailed information of that, they will have access to that, or how will that work?
So we'll still have the access to the detailed information, but I think you're asking more, are you asking me more on the lines of from the forecasting or for the budget itself directly?
For any of those things, my challenge last year going through this process, I was given a document, I'm putting that in air quotes, and all of the numbers were aggregate. I don't know what I'm supporting. I don't know what these numbers, what makes up these numbers. And so my question is, when you present to us, however it is going to be, the digital book, the hard copy book, at what level of detail will it be? Because if they're just all in aggregate, I can't support what I don't know. And so I'm just trying to get an idea of what we should expect.
So it will not be an aggregate. You'll be able to see that detail line, so you can see ABC line is going to consist of 3 different itemizations, so you can see where that total is coming from, and then you can make a decision on if that's something that you support. So we're still going to implement that detailed line that everyone needs to see, and it'll be at the back of the book. I remember what you're talking about when it was one aggregate number. So we do want to provide the council and mayor with that detailed line so that you can see what you're supporting.
Okay. And I am, like my colleagues, I'm excited to see this level of detail and rigor go into this schedule. Mr. City Manager and Ms. Cartwright, thank you so very much for that. In terms of the digital budget book, the Georgia Municipal Association gives acknowledgments and awards for best budgets presented and all of those things. And I know that you're from Savannah, and they also have a very robust, easy-to-read budget book. But my question would be, clearly, when that is juried, there are some criteria that GMA uses to arrive at best budget books for municipalities across the state of Georgia. I would like for East Point to be lauded at some point for that. So perhaps if we could get what that criteria is, so that when we're building our budget book, we're moving toward best in class.
Okay.
So that it's easy to read, easy to understand, easy to follow along for our constituents as well as for us when we have to make decisions. And so I don't know if it's possible to get maybe the last 3 that have received the award to see how they laid their budgets out, and if the software from Gravity would lend itself to those things and what works for us. But at least we can be moving toward a best-in-class budget that is easily comprehensible and easy for us to follow as well.
I'll definitely look into that, Councilman Atkins. With the GFOA, this is one of the reasons why we chose Gravity, because like GFOA, we get that award also. And so with that, it has to have certain stipulations. And so with Best in Budget Award, that's definitely something I'll look into as well, because I'm sure that Gravity will be able to provide that, those parameters for us to achieve that.
All right, thank you. The other thing that I would also like to ask, Mr. City Manager, going back to January activity number 5, Councilmember Hemming alluded to this as well, the media review, events and programs. Is that presentation going to be limited to events and programs? You also alluded to salary savings, and so I'm also interested in that. When we passed the budget for X number of employees. To your point, many of those have been filled, and so will you also give us an update on where we are and any of the savings that we have thus far, and how those funds could possibly be used if we've got to do any kind of budget amendment?
So, multiple layers, maybe not all in that one little line item, but yes, certainly where we are, I think is very fair, talking about achievements, also what we've spent, what's left, typically we track our expenditures on what's left in the budget. Usually you would think on typically, if you're around 50% halfway through the year, you're probably on point. If you're, running at 80%, unless you're telling me there was some major one-off part of that year that we took care of, I'm asking questions on, are we going to be able to make it throughout the year without going over budget? So we'll have those kind of conversations, but events are something that also has been very important. And there's another thing, I don't know how much we'll be able to get into this budget, but there's multiple perspectives. And a good budget, you'll see the same numbers broke down by category. You'll see the same numbers broke down by department. You'll see the same numbers broke down by programs. And so having this is the conversation. I don't know how much we're going to get to all those various descriptions. We may start out one way and then build upon that in future coming years. I definitely know we can have breakdowns based on priority, category and priority. And that leads to some of the priority-based budgeting, strong base budgeting principles we've talked about that I already said we're not going to get fully there. But now that we get this as a good basis, build upon that, we can strengthen, and our numbers with this software will be able to start building trends going from year to year, and then also having some very good visuals that can show those trends. So those kind of things will come, but and I kind of went a long way around the mulberry bush a bit, but yes, we'll be able to take on those. The other big thing is when I'm talking in the same night, when I'm going to be talking about the fiscal outlook, those assumptions and uncertainties, those are the conversations that I'll be strengthening as we kind of talk through. And I got two basically roles of that. So in February, there's another fiscal outlook. And again, I want to talk about, say, for example, reserves. I think there's some things that might be enlightening in that when we actually break down what those reserves mean, especially when we're talking about what's restricted and unrestricted reserves and those kind of things. So give you a really full picture of where we are and while that is building up to the ultimate recommendation and why we're coming up with those recommendations.
Okay. The other thing, I don't know to what level we'll have influence on this. Councilmember Hemming talked about the individual department presentations at 5 minutes. She thought that was, I actually thought that 15 minutes was not enough. She thinks that 15 minutes is too much, but I actually thought 15 minutes was not enough. I think that if you're giving a budget that's multi-million dollars and you either have on new projects that are coming or any of those things, I don't know how much time it takes, but when I looked at it, I said, 15 minutes may not be enough, but I don't know.
Well, I will share with you that was a conversation that both me and the interim finance director had, and understanding the time that we have to work with and the number of departments we have. The idea was whatever we wind up doing, that it be really short on Q&A. Allow those presentations to get out there and then save a lot of the Q&A for the one-on-ones. So that was the way we were thinking of trying to maneuver, because we essentially could have upward to 17 departments, depending on how we want to break those down. Some of those are divisions, but things like the economic development plan, right? That's a juicy topic by itself.
Right.
That's in economic development. You can spend 15 minutes on that just by itself and not talk about the other activities going on in economic development. So there's a balancing act that we're prepared to do. We certainly can make it as short or long. I think it's also a transparency question of how much do you think the public wants to hear about, but I think there's opportunity for the one-on-ones to delve into questions you have so that the format doesn't turn into a big Q&A session.
Okay.
That's our goal.
All right. Thank you. And you also mentioned the Economic Development Strategic Plan, as did Councilmember Martin Rogers, and I'm glad that you did, because it is a document that this body adopted, and to the extent that we adopted it based on the recommendations from the consultant in terms of how we can build our city's economy, I'm glad to hear that there's going to be a discussion and a tie-in so that we know that the money that we spent with the consultants to do that document, that we're actually implementing it, and we just didn't throw money into the wind and it's just sitting on a shelf. So I was glad to hear Councilmember Martin Rogers mention that, and for you to mention it again. And the last thing that I'll mention, I know it's like a dead horse, But I'm hoping to one day revive that horse, and it can be a Derby winner. But number 4, under activities in March, presentations of enterprise rate studies and review. The correct name of the commission is the East Point Utility Advisory Commission, to the extent that this city is an electric city, has an electric utility, a water utility, and a solid waste utility, for a rate study to come before the body, and the commission has not met. Those citizens are ratepayers, end users, customers, and so I'm just trying to figure out, is there a plan for the city? And I'm just encouraging our council members to please make your appointments, because whatever the decision is made, I feel that if we don't give the citizens a structured opportunity to weigh in, then we get the blowback. And so the commission was designed for a reason. And so if we've got a presentation on the rate studies, and I believe that we've not done a rate study in this city in over a decade, it would be great for citizens to be able to hear what that study says and to be able to talk about any of the findings, so that when it comes to this body, it's a true recommendation from the consultants and the citizens. And so I'll leave it at that, and I yield.
More comments from council? Okay, thank you. I'm going to move on to the next item, and I just want to mention that I think that is a really great plan that the city manager pulled together in terms of what his goals and objectives are moving forward. I have a lot of additional questions about the presentation in itself, but I'm going to hold that for the work session to see if this actually will go into the work session next. And the reason why I'm asking is it's a lot of questions, and just to get clarity on each deliverable that was presented here tonight. So I don't want to take up too much time tonight. But the question is, will this go into work session for further discussion and further questions?
I'll answer that really quickly, Madam Mayor. It probably would need to, because if the goal is for the board to adopt this as the timeline for the budget preparation for fiscal year 27, it likely would need to go into work session, understanding that the timeline has started, and for the revisions to come back based on Councilmember Hemming's notation regarding the Budget and Finance Committee. So putting it on a work session for potential discussion and adoption of this timeline would be smart.
Yeah. So would I need to make a motion for that? And there are questions that there are additional questions that I have, but that can be handled in a work session.
No, you can just put it on, just note that it needs to go on a work session and the clerk will.
Okay. Please, let's put this on the work session. Councilman Freeland? That's my only question for now.
So that raises a question for me. So, City Attorney, you're saying that council needs to vote on and approve the city manager's operational timeline?
I am basing that on what I see on this agenda, that was the goal of this presentation, was because he wanted, and I won't speak for him, but that he wanted you guys to adopt this.
Okay, so you wanted us to potentially take action tonight, but we're going to delay that action?
I'm going to clear, so it's more of an affirmation, but I am going to be moving forward. So you put it on the work session. I also will have what we also have identified as topics to be on that same work session. I'm not going to hold up on anything because of the timeline being so compressed. And so I will move forward with that. There's certainly obviously things that we do need to add up that has been brought up. We're going to make those adjustments. Whenever the council affirms it, that's great. I don't think that there's going to be much. We're going to be working on a CIP. That's going to take all our time right now to get that prepared and ready. I don't think there's going to be any amendments that's going to be offered that we're going to change our course of activities leading up to the work session next Monday. So I think it works. And I like to affirm that in a vote, which is also will feed into the actual budget document that this approach and process has been affirmed by the city council. So it doesn't have to happen, tonight, but I wanted to get this out in front of you as soon as possibly could, so that council have time to get comfortable with it. And I know it's an awful lot for brand new council members to grapple with this. And so we'll spend the time to answer those questions and get council comfortable.
Right. Yeah, so was the phrasing of the agenda item correct as possible action, or was that inadvertent?
I asked the city clerk to make it for possible action with the idea that if the council was ready to move forward with it, let's go ahead and do it.
There are dates and items for the work session, so how can we, if we haven't voted on it, how do you do those things on that work session? I guess I feel like we've set up a conundrum.
Well, so I think part of it is, this is really, the city manager falls under the day-to-day activities. This is a kind of a courtesy approach to make sure, and transparency approach to make sure everybody is on board, what's going on behind the scenes, what's happening under the hood, getting you prepared in advance so that you can have the time to research and develop the areas that you would like to, do a deep dive on, give you that time. But we're really going, essentially, this is what we're going to be doing and what we have went through, what had been done last year. We're going to basically do what makes sense this year, improving on what we did last year. Those things are kind of locked in. There is a lot of room that we're getting our hands around with the millage process. And we definitely need to involve the Budget Finance Committee. But those big pieces of that, everything else, it makes sense. We're going to be doing some fashion, some iteration of that. We're willing to add to that based on what council needs to make sure that they're consuming and understanding and digesting that information. But this is really kind of the bones that I don't think there's a lot of deviation for us, if that helps.
Right, and yeah, I took it in the spirit of, sharing additional information for council. I don't know if any colleagues feel like we should go ahead and take action so that it can move forward, or should we hold off on taking action? Because again, there are dates embedded in this that start at the next meeting of council. If it's not a concern for others, I'll yield, but.
Councilman Atkins?
Yes. I also took it in the spirit of not that you needed our approval. You're charged with the day-to-day operations of the city, but in the spirit of just sharing the timeline that you have created, I am 1,000% fine with moving forward, because it doesn't mean that this can't be modified as we move forward. But my concern is that last year we talked about having priority-based budgeting, and we didn't get to that, right? And so I think that with all of the rigor and detail that has gone into the schedule, that we're moving toward a more inclusive process for the budget. I would hate to delay. I really saw this as you're sharing with us, but you're charged with the day-to-day operations of the city. I don't really, so I would be fine with that, and that doesn't mean that we can't modify as we move along, because we'll learn things as we move along. And also, to Councilmember Hemming's point, the portion that speaks to, of our charter that speaks to this, the budget going to Budget and Finance, that has to be incorporated. I think that we're all on board with that. So it doesn't mean that you can't continue to move on these things so that we can get as much input as possible. So if you're looking for that, I would be fine with action.
Yes, totally agree with that. Right. So, yeah. And you're 100% right. We can always make modifications. We're going to make a modification with the Finance Budget Committee. We missed that. We actually pulled this together last night And so, in the wee hours, because of vacations and everything else and getting geared up for the new council. So, yes, absolutely, this is open for modifications. We will be making modifications. It's a living document, is always a living document. That being said, we're not holding off waiting for anything because we can't. We really want to get this going and make sure that we don't find ourselves in the type of crunch that we were last year. And so based on that, that's why we got it set up the way that we do.
Okay, and thank you. And just in the nature of transparency, with this project, there's a lot of items listed in my, I'm very excited to see this. My concerns are around communications plans with the public and council. Items like the project plans, there are a lot of items listed here. Does each item require a project plan that has like goals and objectives, as well as an executive summary, so that as we're moving along, that the communications that is to the public and to the council are clear and something that we can track and measure along the way? Something that is, at the top of this plan that you've presented, as well as does Gravity track engagement along the way? And I'm asking that because we are saying that we're being transparent and we're giving a document that will be digestible to the public. And as we go along, we need to understand whether they are actually engaging as we go. So I know the train has to leave the station. And as we're leaving the station with all this information, are we at the same time making sure that the public is tracking with us? And if they aren't tracking with us, then that would be something that we can help you facilitate in a way, whether it's whatever that may look like. And so that's why, I think this is amazing to have everything here. It's very helpful, it is, and I just wanted to reiterate, and I think you've mentioned communications to the public. I saw that sprinkled throughout this. I do want to acknowledge that, definitely. And so when we're talking about the holistic, big picture items, just making sure there's the communications plan to accompany this so that the public and the residents can track along as well. But I just thank you for sharing this, because obviously this is something that your departments have put together, but I thank you for, bringing us along. And so those are the questions that I had. Thank you, or comments.
The attorney has something to say.
I'm sorry?
Laren has something to say.
I'm sorry. Madam City.
Yeah, I just had my light on just to respond to something said earlier that legally, I don't think it requires y'all's vote on this.
Okay.
So if he wants it, great, but it doesn't, it's not necessary.
Okay, thank you. All right, sorry. All right. Is this going to a work session? Do we need to move this to the work session or no? I guess. Do you want to, Madam City, Madam? No. Okay, so. Star?
Yes,
I'm sorry.
thank you, and thank you, City Manager, for your presentation. And I can appreciate, all the work and everything that was put into it. If there are some, and I do definitely think that you should move forward with what it is that you do have outlined. If there are any adjustments or changes or suggestions that we need, I think if we kind of put those down and submit those to the City Manager, those can be incorporated in it, because what I don't want us to do is to get into a point that this thing is drug out and then we end up where we were last year with regards to it. And actually, I was trying to pull it back up to see just what you had for January. I think between the next 2 meetings that we have this month, if there are any adjustments or changes or suggestions that we'd like to see in this outline that he's prepared, we can submit those to him. They can make those adjustments, so we're allowed to move forward. With that being said, does this necessarily have to go to work session? I don't think it does. And then just as Madam City Attorney said, it does not need our approval.
Okay.
I just think it was just sort of just letting us know moving forward what your plan is for the budget.
Okay.
Okay. just so we don't drag this thing out.
All right.
Thank you, I yield.
All right, thank you. And so do I have a motion to, move on to the council discussion and possible action on the city of East Point Boards Commission and Aging?
So moved.
It has been moved and properly second.
Discussion.
Discussion?
Yes. At this time, keeping in mind that we have 3 new council members, I am going to remove this item. If there are any suggestions as to, I know I heard from one person because I was advised that the bylaws and the ordinance don't match, but if there is additional input on this item, I'd be happy to discuss it, but we have 3 new council members, so I'm just going to remove this item for this evening and bring it back at a later date. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, and we will move on to...
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
you did get a motion and a second. And so because she's removing it, then everybody who is in favor of it coming off, vote no to the motion so that it can move on. Does that
So,
make sense?
all those in favor? All those opposed?
Right. Everybody who wants to move
Oh,
it,
just
vote
move it.
no to the
Okay.
motion.
You're voting?
Because the motion was to open the floor for discussion. We're not doing that. So
Okay.
you vote no.
No.
So no. All right, the noes have it.
The noes have it.
The noes have it.
There you go.
Reverse this time. Okay, the noes have it. All right, now I'll make a motion to open the floor for the discussion and possible action on the data center moratorium. It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion?
Discussion.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Yes, discussion. Did you call on me?
Opening the floor.
Thought I had hit my mic.
Okay.
Was I first?
Councilwoman Hemming, Mitchell, and then Councilwoman Martin Rogers, and then Councilman Sean Atkins.
I want to thank Councilman Atkins for bringing this forth, but I do believe that there are some procedural issues, and so my questions are to Madam City Attorney. This item being placed on the agenda, having not previously gone to a work session, I believe that is Rule 15. And then also, Rule 16 suggests that if we have an agenda item, that we need to have the ordinance drafted, and there's like lots of language. So I just wanted your input on those 2 rules, and if we were interested in having any discussion about this tonight, what will we need to do, Madam City Attorney?
Yes, ma'am. So you are correct about those rules, and I do believe that Councilman Atkins is aware of that. And so if you wanted to move forward with anything on this moratorium ordinance, you would need to make a motion to waive the requirements of Rule 15. If you are seeking to, and I do believe you have a copy of the ordinance which was passed around, obviously not super ahead of time of the meeting. But if you are seeking to ensure that Rule 15 is followed, then the ordinance would need to go to your work session to go through that cycle you just stated, and then appear. You would also need a motion to waive the first reading, and then you could either vote on it at the work session, if the council finds that the urgency of it requires such, or read it then at that following meeting, the 3rd Monday.
Go ahead, Councilwoman Martin Rogers.
Was I next?
Tremaine, I'm sorry. Councilman.
Oh, no, so I had the same concerns. So I think, Madam City Attorney, she addressed my question. So, that's it. Thank you.
Councilwoman Martin Rogers.
Yes, sentiments exactly. I would prefer that we follow our council rules, which Councilmember Hemming has stated that this should probably go to a work session, and that's what I was going to bring up, Rule number 15. Thank you.
do we have a motion?
No, I'm in.
Yeah, we have
Okay.
people in, you have to
Okay.
go to everybody.
All right, sorry.
I think I'm-
Councilman Atkins.
Yes. Yes, and so as the city attorney has mentioned, I'm 1,000% fine with this going to work session so we can discuss it. I'm aware of Rule 15, that this ordinance did not go to a work session or meeting. So to the extent that my colleagues, we have a copy of the ordinance, will now have an opportunity to review that so that we can come back and have discussions about it, and then it could be voted on in a subsequent meeting. So I appreciate all of that sentiment also from my colleagues, so that's fine.
Councilwoman Ziegler.
Yes, thank you. So my concern is that I understand that we have rules and that it is of best practice to follow them. However, we do have a process in order to waive the rules. And right now, there are things that are moving that we can't exactly talk about. And things can happen between now and the work session that I would be uncomfortable with, because if a data center were to come in or buy property, it already fits the zoning, which means that we would never have any input or even know that it's coming. And we would learn far too late. And then additionally, we wouldn't be able to do anything as data centers fit industrial zoning. So I have the appetite of waiving Rule 15 and then proceeding to go ahead and adopt the ordinance for a moratorium on data centers for 6 months.
Councilman Atkins?
Yes, I appreciate that, Councilmember Ziegler. Even when a data center is an allowable use in a zoning classification, I think that you use I-1. It is one of the permitted uses in I-1. Data centers also require an additional step of a use permit, I believe. And so because of that, it then triggers a public process, and then it would have to come to council. And so understanding, I wanted to make sure you're correct. There are some things that are happening in the city, and there are large swaths of land that could potentially be ideal for a data center. And data centers have a huge drain on water resources, electrical grids, and all of those things, which is why I wanted to get this on our very first meeting. But it is an allowable use in I-1, a permitted use, but it would also require a use permit, which would then trigger a public process that will go through CZIM, work session, public Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, and then to us as the final arbiters of that, which may assist us as we go through this process. Madam Attorney, if you want to add anything to that, if I missed any of those points, that would be great.
So I want to be sure that we don't discuss the ordinance, because that's the issue on the floor, is whether or not the floor should be open for discussion. I will say that if you're suggesting that because of the process for zoning is lengthy, that a moratorium coming during that may assist the body in addressing those issues, I would not be of the opinion that a filed application would be safe, or wouldn't be safe, I should say.
Because we wouldn't be able to retroactively impose for that. But yes, I am comfortable with whatever the will of the body is, but I do understand your concerns and sentiments, Councilmember Ziegler. Thank you.
So you're saying we can't discuss it? I know there's a motion to possibly waive, well, we haven't made the motion to waive the rules yet, but.
The current motion on the floor is a motion to open the floor for discussion, and the majority sentiment that I'm hearing is that that vote will not pass.
That'd just be
because-
for taking action on this item?
One more time, sir?
Can we have the discussion? And I know if they have, we waive the rule if we want to take action on the item tonight. I know we probably won't be able to do that unless we waive the rule.
Right, but what I'm hearing is that the majority of city council is not wanting to even open the floor for discussion and for it to actually appear on the work session first.
Okay.
Which would be next week.
Okay. I did have questions, but I'm not sure. I guess we have to vote on this first. Okay, thank you.
Madam City Attorney, can you confirm what Councilman Atkins just said? And this does have direct impact on my decision. Is our data center, do they require a special use permit that would come before this body? Okay, thank you. I yield.
Yes, thank you. So it sounds like the general consensus is to wait until the work session. And I believe that there is also a rule that says that if you vote no on something, it's got to wait a certain time before you can entertain it again. So do we need to make a friendly motion or a friendly amendment to the motion to move it to the work session instead of opening it tonight? Is that what we would need to do?
Give me a second, I'm gonna look up that rule.
Okay.
I'm in for discussion.
Since we already approved the agenda, does that matter? Do we have to vote to take it off? Okay. Okay.
So Rule 26 indicates that a motion that has been presented to council may not be presented again for a period of 60 days unless there's been extraordinary changes that will warrant such an action. If you remember, we went through that whole exercise with another issue that was seeking to be re-entertained. I really think that Rule 26 is getting to something that is like subject matter, right? A substantive motion. A motion to open the floor for discussion isn't a motion on the actual moratorium. Does that make sense? So I don't think you would be precluded from putting it on the work session.
Okay.
I do think, though, out of abundance of caution, it would not be a bad idea to just withdraw the motion, withdraw the second. I think Councilman Atkins is fine with going on the work session, and the council move on to the next agenda item.
I'm the maker of the motion. I'm the maker of the motion.
Okay, Councilman Atkins?
Yes, and with that advice from our city attorney, I will withdraw my motion for discussion and possible action.
Okay, all those,
No, second.
Won't even need it.
I have to withdraw the second.
Second.
Withdraw the second.
so we have to also withdraw the second?
Yes.
Yes, and she was the second.
I withdraw as well.
And do we have to withdraw the ayes?
No, you'll just say, if you can just state for the record that number 4 on the agenda items is going on work session.
Okay. All right, for the record, number 4 on the agenda item will be going to work session, which,
Turn your mic on. Turn your mic on.
all right. So, the next item on the agenda, may I have a motion to open the floor to council discussion and possible action of a resolution for the general circular for the city of East Point? Second. Any discussion? No. It has been moved. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Madam City Clerk?
Okay, good evening, everybody. This is just the general circular that comes out every year at the top of the year, basically stating that the South Fulton Neighbor is, excuse me, the designated newspaper for the city is the South Fulton Neighbor, and that we use the AJC is used for time constraints and emergencies. And as a FYI, like as of January 1, AJC is fully digital at this point.
Okay. Let's see.
So moved.
It's removed?
We're discussion.
Well, we asked for discussion prior. No.
I did not approve the session for council.
Okay. All right, Councilman Freely.
Okay. I was going to make a motion to approve this resolution.
Second.
Is there, yeah, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Is it, Madam Clerk, am I understanding, are we choosing to make one our primary circular over the other? I didn't hear a recommendation. I just heard you say either the South Fulton Neighbor or the AJC, so I'm not really sure what the motion would be.
The South
for.
Fulton Neighbor is our primary. The AJC is what we use in time constraints in the event of an emergency. So say if, South Fulton is weekly. Say we had an emergency happen like in the next couple of days. South Fulton only publishes on Wednesday when the AJC publishes every day. So, yeah.
Right. I guess my question is, I heard all of that.
Mm-hmm.
You stated that, but I don't know if you were making a recommendation that we remain with the South Fulton Neighbor or if we go with the AJC, and if there are benefits for one or the other. I just heard a motion to approve, but I don't know if we are approving to stay with the South Fulton Neighbor or to go with the AJC, so I don't know.
Oh, no,
'Cause I didn't-
we're staying with the South Fulton Neighbor because it's actually in our code section that the South Fulton Neighbor is our designated newspaper, and then the AJC is used in the event of emergencies. And in the event South Fulton Neighbor cannot work with our time constraints.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's status quo.
Yeah, it's status quo,
All
and
right.
it's in, like I said, it's in the code section.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Freely made the motion and I seconded, and based on the information, my second stands. Aye.
Are there any items for executive session?
Madam Mayor, yes, legal does have, wait a minute. 2 legal and 2 personnel.
I make a motion to move. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
City manager doesn't have any.
Yeah, the city manager and then council members. So ask the city manager if he has any items for executive session.
Mr. City Manager, do you have any items for executive session? Okay. Council, do you have any items for executive session?
I do. Yes, I had 2 personnel, 2 legal, and 1 real estate.
One legal and 1 real estate. Okay. 2 legal and 1 personnel from City Attorney Wiggins? Is it 2 legal, 2 personnel? Okay, 2 legal, 2 personnel. Okay, so, may I have a motion?
We have
still
more.
Others, they go through everybody has a light on.
Ms. Councilwoman Hemmings?
I have 1 personnel.
Councilman Atkins?
I have 2 real estate.
Councilwoman Dr. Latanya Martin Rogers?
Yes, I have 1 real estate and 1 personnel.
Are there any more items for the executive session from council? Hearing none, I will make a motion to call for a motion. So used to be on planning and zoning. I'll call for a motion for executive session. We have 2, wow, add these up, right? So 2 legal and 1 personnel from Madam City Attorney.
You just.
Right, 2 legal, 2 personnel from Madam City Attorney. We have, 2 personnel, 2 legal, we have to add all these up, so what is that total?
Can I make a motion?
Okay, so we have 6 personnel. We have, thank you, 6 personnel, 4 legal, and 6 real estate items for executive session. We have a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry,
we have a
Madam
motion to
Madam Mayor.
recess?
I actually have 4 real estate.
Okay, can you read, do you?
Oh, I have 4 legal, 6 personnel, 4 real estate. Okay.
Okay. So, we have, so moved. Second, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. We're going into executive session. Thank you.
I can make the motion.
A motion to proceed as discussed with the IntelliSite contract, is that? IntelliSite matter as discussed in executive session. May I have a motion?
Second.
It's been moved, and do I have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. May I have a motion to establish, what is the expense report? I mean, this, okay, that's not a motion. Okay, may I have a motion to approve the minutes from the executive session?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
This has been moved and properly second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Good night, East Point.